Shout out Near Falls with D Hall's podcast.
Welcome to Near Falls with D Hall. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D Hall. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. Talking Near Falls with D Hall. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
All right, joining me now on the pod, Whippio legend, Mr. Luke Pletcher. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Happy to be here. How you doing?
Doing real good indeed. Super excited to sit down with you, my friend. Been watching you for a very long time. Super big fan. From really since you've been a little kid. You're a little bit younger than my brother, or older than my brother, I believe. What year did you graduate? 14, I think, right?
16.
Okay, so yeah, you're real close. I was looking at your stats earlier today. 3-time state champ, 3-time Whippio champ. We know what happened in the junior year, but man, I think that's a great way to start this interview. Talk about wrestling in the Whippio growing up, and kind of just wrestling in Western Pennsylvania in general.
Yeah, I think, as everybody knows, I came from Latrobe originally. Yeah, it's a really unique, I think, thing that just wrestling in this area is, the way that it's. I think it's more important here than almost anywhere. There's some other places in Pennsylvania, like the eastern side, the Lehigh Valley. It's really important there. And then in other states, there's some pockets that I've been to and been able to kind of feel that as well. But yeah, Western Pennsylvania is really cool, and just being able to grow up through that system. You didn't know it any other way, but once you get out of it, and luckily I've been in wrestling for a long time now, you kind of appreciate it a little bit more. At least I do, now that I've been, able to see it at different places. It's a really cool thing that I have a lot of pride in as well.
Okay, so you obviously had a great career in high school. You move over to Ohio State. For me, before I kind of ask you towards the end of your career, looking at your career as a whole, you really started to pick up the bonus points as you started to get older in your career. Your junior, your senior year, your bonus point really started to explode. Talk to me about that progression, and where were you able to find that? Because obviously you were a high level wrestler, you're 2-time All-American, but where were you able to separate yourself?
I think obviously I got better at wrestling. My skills were better. I spent a lot of time in, just technically developing. But also I think a lot of it came just mentally of, funny, I was talking to Vince about this yesterday or 2 days ago. Just thinking like, this might have just been me, but I used to think like that I put a lot of people on pedestals, I think, and thinking that, I'm in, whether it was high school, you move up to high school and you think like, oh, it's going to be so much harder. These guys are so much better than I've ever felt before. Or in college, it's like, these guys were all really good, and now we're in Division I and in the Big Ten, and these guys, there's no way I can beat them so bad. But it's like, at the end of the day, like, they had the same feelings that you do. They have the same nerves. They think that, you're really good too. And then just believing in myself that, I hold myself highly and think that I'm pretty good at this. And, we don't have to fear, losing, or it doesn't have to be a close match. You kind of just put all your effort into the 7 minutes that you have, and, let it fly.
My man, you were part of the group that didn't get to wrestle their senior year because of COVID. Talk about being there and straight up just losing a year where, we have some guys that are 5-time national champs that got to do 5 years where you legitimately only got 3.
Yeah. It's weird now, especially the way everything is now. It's crazy. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's been so long now that you kind of get over it. There's sometimes where I think about it, like if it's the national tournament, I'm like, this sucks. But yeah, it is what it is. It's part of life. Sometimes you get dealt a bad hand, and you got to move on and learn from it. but at the same time, it, you know, I had a really good career, and I'm happy about that. And nothing's promised in any way. So it's like, it's part of life. You learn from it and move on. But yeah, it doesn't change anything that I take away from my college experience. It was a blast. I learned a lot, had a lot of fun, made a lot of friends and connections that, still talk to those people today. So
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. All right. So after that, you come back home. Talk about the time you spent at Pitt. Obviously, I remember when you guys were growing up, you spent a lot of time at the PWC, and then you kind of found yourself back there after you were done at Ohio State. So kind of talk about your time at Pitt, and what did you learn from there before ultimately we were going to end up where you're at now?
Yeah, it was kind of another thing, like we talked about, not having an extra year, not getting granted an extra year of eligibility there. But at the same time, it would open the door for that, because as you know, college coaching positions are pretty scarce, and the timing has to line up. And I was able to, and I was very fortunate the timing opened up. They had a position open, and they reached out, and the opportunity to, come back closer to home, still be in wrestling. I was still training at that time. But yeah, moving into coaching role that I wasn't sure that I even wanted to do. I didn't know what I really wanted to do post wrestling. I knew I wanted to continue competing, but I was able to, start coaching and learning different things from different people. And yeah, that experience was great. Yeah, I love those guys still. I was at the golf outing on Saturday. Everything's, it's cool to be around them. And it's just another one of those things where you become friends with people and you learn a lot just from different perspectives.
So obviously, my friend, you were two-time All-American. You have chops now at Division I coaching level at Pitt. What went into the decision to go down to D2 and kind of be where you're at now, where ultimately what we're going to talk a lot about is Seton Hill, and kind of what went into that decision?
Yeah, I think a lot. Knowing Vince for a while, he tried to get me the year prior, and the timing just didn't work out. And it was something that, took a lot of thought in for me, of just moving on from Pitt and Division I, really, of just the way that it's going is scary. I don't have kids. I don't have really anybody that depends on me, but I felt it in, being kind of worried about what could happen. It's a really fun job that it has a lot of rewards and a lot of perks, but it also can be stressful in terms of you have to perform and you have to do that. And I love that part, but that's what makes it great. But you feel that pressure and you do that. And it's like, I felt it, and I was like, man, if I had kids and I was worried about this or that, I was like, I couldn't imagine that. So it was something that's been on my mind. And then, Vince talked to me about, coming, he was trying to get an assistant job and thinking about the future. And it just kind of worked out, being from, I grew up 20 minutes from Seton Hill's campus, and, I love this area. I love the people here, and with the opportunity to come and coach here is something I'm really excited about.
Yeah, man. That kind of brings up a question in my brain before I get to my next thought. Talk about that area, man. It's so rich, and so, when I was in high school, it was like the Nico Megaludis Jimmy Golubon match was going on, and everyone was so juiced up about that. And for years, Westmoreland County has been unbelievable and rich in history. Just talk about growing up in that area.
Yeah, it's cool. I think I tell this story sometimes of my roommate in college was from Florida, and we're really good friends, and you talked about wrestling and how different it was for him. And I talked about the club scene that I grew up in, just the crazy names of Jason Nolf and Vincenzo, myself, Michael Kemmer.
I was gonna say your era was so good, buddy. You guys were ridiculous. So good. That
crazy.
Young Guns Club was, oh my Lord. Oh my Lord.
And it's we all started I mean, I can't remember how young I was, but I was very little, probably like 7.
Yeah.
And all the group of people started at Pitt, and
Okay.
it's like we all practiced together all the time from the time we were like 7 or 8, and then we moved on to a different club, all American. We all then like once we got to like maybe 7th or 8th grade, getting into high school, it kind of like started to split. But it's cool to be like, you kind of come up through the system together, and we learned and got better. And it's interesting looking back of like this guy used to be, like the man, and then came down, and this guy we used to get crushed in the wrestling room together, but now he went on to do really good things. And it's interesting to look back on, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of different emotions were going through those rooms, lots of tears, but it was a lot of fun.
A lot of Area 3 battles, I'm sure, back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get top 2. That was no joke, I'm sure, back in those days.
It was not. It was a blast.
I love it. Okay, talk to me about the Wild Wrestling Club, my friend.
Yeah. Just a wrestling club I just started in June. We're operating out of Seton Hill's wrestling room. Again, like I talked about before of, going through the system of different clubs and stuff from around the area. And I'm really excited. This is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. You probably go back to like, remember whenever you were in elementary school and like you had to write down what you wanted to be when you were older. After I was done wanting to be a scientist, it was probably to own my own wrestling club, so I knew I wasn't gonna be a scientist, and then I did that. But yeah, I'm really excited. I have some, ideas and different thoughts that I've learned through, my time at Ohio State and then Pitt, and just, different thoughts that I feel like could benefit the area. And again, I'm really prideful about this area, and the people here are good people with, blue collar background for the most part. And I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be something that, that will be different.
Well, let me ask you this, just a further question on that. I mean, in an area, I'm sure there's a club in Pittsburgh every 5 miles, maybe 3 miles, whatever. It's very, very saturated. What's going to set you apart?
Well, I think the most part is just my biggest thing will be the fundamentals of wrestling. I think once you get to a certain level of wrestling, like there's moves, there's like new moves that you could learn, but at the most part, if you watch the highest level, it's like there's some outliers for sure, but the fundamentals are what win at every level. And you have to be really good at them, and you have to be elite at them to be really successful. And I think sometimes it can be boring, but at the same time, it's like just keep reiterating that and giving examples, showing that. And I think just being a positive influence on the kids will be something that I'm excited about. I look at, I'm a nerd about wrestling, and I watch wrestling in the way that
you're a junkie. I love it.
Yeah, like people watch NFL football, and I'm an NFL football junkie as well, but like
fantasy guy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, me too. I was just doing some studying today.
Yeah, but it's like I watch wrestling all the time, so I know what's like fluky and what's in season right now. But I think it's interesting. Like I was working with some guys this summer of like that are pretty good high schoolers, and then even in my time so far at Seton Hill, my time at Pitt, it's like our penetration step is like awful for some reason. Like once you get to like 6th grade, they stop worrying about it, and it's like you just start building bad habits, and then all of a sudden it's like that's the first thing we ever learned, is how to do a penetration step. But it's like, how can we incorporate, making sure that's good, and if you can do that, you can shoot just about any shot there is, but you have to be able to do that, and if you can't, then that's just like one example that I've thought of in the past. Just noticed in the past 2-3 months of just we got to hammer the little details, and then once we get those things, we can start branching out and
I like that.
You
Kind of
know,
like a Nick Saban. The little details matter, and then they add everything up real quick.
yeah. If you
I
don't,
like
if you
that.
don't have those things, you can't do the fun stuff.
Very good. Very cool. Okay, so tell me why Vinny D is the right fit for you as an assistant coach to his head coach.
Yeah, I think I've known him for a long time. He's helped me in my wrestling since I was probably maybe sixth grade, something like that.
And I mean, he was competing high school coach to you growing up too, right? He
Yeah,
was Hempfield, you were Latrobe, right down the street from each other.
yeah, and there was some stuff there that we had to, go our separate ways for a little bit. But deep down, I mean, I've known him forever, and it's we've had different times throughout, like just working together. And I know the way that he feels about wrestling. I know who he is as a person, and just being around him, it's easy to work with, and we have a kind of a similar thought process of how things should be done. And there's just a chemistry there that's been built for a long time. So
Love that. What type of goals do you have set for yourself? Let's say this year, and then give me like a 2-year goal, like the next 2 years.
I think for me personally, it's like just bringing a thought process or culture of like, we're just trying to get really good at wrestling. When we're in the room, of like, there's different ways of thinking about it, but it's like, if you can, be obsessed with the process of getting good, and getting better, and that changes how you practice and how you live your life outside of the room. And then that rolls over into school, that rolls over to life choices. And I think just coming to practice, like, you can get better, but like being attentive in that process of like, we worked on whatever single leg finishes, and this is how we were doing it. It's like, then we go live wrestling and you go back to doing how you've been doing it for the past 10 years. It's like, well, that's why we spent the time there. It's like, I'm trying to get better at this setup, and whenever we do live wrestling, and so you don't try it, it's like, that's how you have to learn it. Just throw yourself into the fire. And I think that goes with all aspects of life, of no matter what you're doing. So you make your decision and you kind of roll with it and let the chips fall. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Last question I have for you, my friend. First time you are on my show. Give me your favorite near fall or pin that you've either ever been a part of, seen. Just give me your favorite near fall or pin in wrestling. And this could go I'll give you a little bit as you're thinking there. Like, I have some guys that talk about like they won in the state finals, or of course when I had Chenzo on, when he beat Imar, right? But some guys are like when they're in the coach's corner and their dude gets over the hump and beats a big opponent. So you can give me multiple. I've had guys cheat and give me 2 or 3. You do whatever you want, but give me some near falls or pins that stick out in your brain.
Okay. I'll think of, this is a tough question. I would say, coaching wise, one of probably like the bigger first things that I was a part of, Cole Matthews, whenever he was wrestling for 5th place. I think this would have been his sophomore year, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He threw Real Woods to his back, and it was like he held him there for like a minute and a half. And it was like, at that point, it's like the match it's not over, but it's pretty much over. You're down 7-0 against somebody good. It's hard to come back on. And that was like a cool moment of just like, wow, he,
did it.
You're ending on top. You're like, he didn't pin him, but it was like, yeah, that was electric just to be a part of. And just like, you held him there for so long, and it's like, you feel good in the corner. You're just sitting there watching him hold him there. It's like that was cool. Outside of that, let me think here. I go back to this is nothing in particular, but we had this kid on our high school team that,
let's go. You're giving me good ones. Come on.
Yeah. And it was, we had a pretty good team, but this kid like didn't wrestle individually. He just came out for the team. I think he's 215. And
Oh, you're
he
right
had,
in my wheelhouse. All
he had
right, go
a,
ahead.
maybe it was one night, something like that. He was a bigger guy.
Yep.
And he had this like nasty crossface cradle, and he would just go out there and pin people. And that's like what I think about whenever it comes to like high school wrestling. I love high school wrestling. I think it's the coolest thing in terms of just camaraderie, team camaraderie. It's awesome. And some of my favorite memories of wrestling is just having a good high school team and, going through that system. So yeah, that's something that I think of as just Logan Carnes getting a pin in the home duel,
Let's go. Who were you wrestling in the home duel?
It didn't matter.
Okay. I was gonna say sometimes. I mean, you guys were good. That was like the year. Didn't you have the kid up, the 195 pounder who was really tough on your squad? Tyler Mears was really good, the big heavyweight.
Yeah.
Man, you guys had a couple good kids on that squad. Oh, Jake Schaefer was on that team.
Jake Schaefer. We had Zavatsky.
That's who. Willishow was on that squad. That squad was
good.
nice.
You're good.
I like it.
We took second the whole ways out. I think we took second at sectionals, Whippeals, and then states. Lost to
Who'd you
Franklin
lose to? I was going to say Franklin.
The whole time. But it was super fun.
They were good, though. I mean, that was like the Maruka's years, right? Maruka, Shields. Yeah, they were nasty. Good stuff, man. I love catching up with you, my friend. Thank you for hanging out with me, and good luck with the club, and good luck over there at Seton Hill. Bring home some national champs, my friend.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
My man. Talk to you soon.
We'll see it.